Hi, this is Roscoe with Cooking with Cyber, and this is your news for February 17th, 2024. U.S. hacks Iranian ship MV Bashad last week. The MV Bashad is said to be sharing reconnaissance data with Houthi rebels in Yemen. And if you didn't know, they're attacking ships in that area. U.S. ships, all sorts of other ships, because of conflict with Israel. The FBI shut down a Russian botnet affecting U.S. routers, and so this botnet is apparently set up by a group named Fancy Bear, and their malware is called Mubot apparently, and it's affecting over 1,000 unsecure routers in people's houses. Okay, buddy. My dog Buddy, he wants to be a part of the action. Apparently, he's barking around. But it's affecting routers using insecure credentials, default passwords, and usernames. The U.S. government is also having problems with their SharePoint servers being exploited because of compromised ex-employees' credentials. So CISA has put out a report about that, and there's a couple other people that were reporting on it, but CISA has confirmed about it. And another kind of interesting thing that's it's been going on for quite a while. The cyber attack happened on Washington County, Pennsylvania, back in January, and they voted to pay $350,000 for the ransomware attack. And the money apparently came from the American Rescue Plan funds, and so they were quite upset about that, but they voted to pay the ransom anyway. They said it wasn't affecting court proceedings, but apparently they're very concerned about some children who have been abducted and some other things with the children. And so it's quite interesting that they're using money that was allocated for the American Rescue Plan. And so, hopefully, they get that taken care of and they find a team competent enough to defend their cyber resources. So, ransomwares happen, and there's a few ways that you can deal with it. And paying is always kind of like the last resort. And this happening to a municipal government, the county of Washington in the Pittsburgh area is quite a big deal. And I think we're going to see more and more of this. And I think that it all goes back to who are you putting your confidence in? And you're putting your confidence into these elected officials, and some of them not elected. They're appointing people to hire competent people and set up cyber defense programs, and they have data collection programs and surveillance programs, and they should be defending their resources. And because they didn't do it as good as they could, or they didn't have their proper backups and they didn't have their proper plans in place, they got hit pretty bad. And the taxpayers are paying the bill. So what happens in the end? Are these people going to get, is any consequences going to happen to them? Maybe in the next election, you'll find out. But, you know, if this happened in my town, I would be the first citizen to go there and be like, why do we have to foot the bill for your incompetence? You were elected. It's your job to do this. And so just because you have other plans and other agendas doesn't mean that you can go and you can just push it off on the taxpayers. This is silly. So uh, enough of my ranting about ransomware, but on to the next thing we got here, which is guitar news. Yes, awesome. Look at these beautiful guitars from Manson Guitar Works out of the United Kingdom. And so they've been around for a little bit, and guitars.com gave them an 8 out of 10 score, which is pretty good. And these things, though they only have one pickup, they have a kill switch, and they just look rocking. Oh man, I love these colors. Yeah, they have a kill switch, and they have the adjustable neck down at the bottom, with truss rod access. I love that. My guitar is like that. My Telecaster is like that. And so, yeah, they're made out of a beachy wood out of Africa, and yeah, it's kind of looks like a whiter version of mahogany wood. So yeah, it's really really cool. So I left a link so that you can check out their website and check out the review from Guitar News from guitar.com. And our cooking segment today is the hacker's dog food. It's a little bit of a play on the farmer's dog. So this is the hacker's dog and our food. So uh, it's getting really popular to have like more of a fresher food for your dog and your companion, family member. And we know that our dog Buddy, he loves this. This uh, recipe actually kind of started with the farmer who we got it from. She was telling us that she would mix hot dogs, gravy, and bread for the dogs, and so I just kind of took it to the next level. I added a few more things. So I added some white rice and a can of mixed vegetables and with some corned beef hash and hot dogs. And I decided to add some salmon. It seems like the dog food brands out there, they all have like a little bit of a mix. They have the different kinds of protein, so they're getting different sources of vitamins. And in mine, we use some scraps from our pork chops from when we made the sweet and sour pork. So, yeah, I hope you like the video. It'll be a fun time, and we'll get back to cooking some people food. But I just kind of really wanted to show you guys more about the homemade dog food. Because I know not everybody can afford a lot of this real fresh dog food. Maybe there's this is something that you might want to do for your own pet so that you can try out a more fresher food without paying a lot of the other costs that are associated with shipping and other things. They're a business, they're trying to make money. And if you make yourself food, you save a little bit of money. If you make your dog food, you're going to save a little bit of money. So hi, this is Roscoe with Cooking with Cyber, and today we're making the hacker's dog food. We're going to start off with about a cup of cooked white rice. Then we got 3 pieces of bread, and you can use any type of bread. We got a can of mixed vegetables, and there's carrots, potatoes, peas, green beans, and a little bit of celery in it. We got about 3 chopped hot dogs, about a half a can of corned beef hash. We have 1 packet of salmon. We have some scraps from our pork chops that we use for the sweet and sour pork. And then we have a slurry to thicken our gravy that we're using. And I used about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and a little bit of water just to loosen it up a little bit. And so I have chicken stock that I made from chicken base, and I used about three tablespoons of chicken bouillon to about half of a pot of water. And so I got it boiling. So I'm going to start off by putting in the pork scraps because they got to cook a little bit. So the pork scraps are going in there. And since it's cooling down a little bit, I'm going to raise the temperature so it gets boiling and it cooks a little bit faster. And usually what I do is I'll add any of the meat stuff first. So the stuff that kind of needs to cook a little bit. Most everything's cooked, and sometimes I put the scraps in there, sometimes I don't. It depends if I have scraps for them or not. So I'm gonna just start adding stuff. So it'll probably take about 2 or 3 minutes for that pork to cook off. So So as I mentioned before in my other videos, I'm looking for people who are willing to share their cyber journey with me. I'd like to interview you if you have some goals to be in IT or cybersecurity. So if you want to do that, just get a hold of me. You can DM me on LinkedIn, or just message me on YouTube, and I'll get to you somehow. So thank you very much, and we're going to continue now that this is boiling a little bit. So looks like our pork's kind of cooking up a little bit. I don't know if you can see this, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our salmon to the mixture. So this is a simple kind of recipe. When we bought our dog Bunny a few weeks back, we bought him from a farm, and the farmer, she was a nice lady. She said that him and his brother were living off of dog food that she would make out of hot dogs, gravy, and bread. And so I kind of took that recipe, used it as a base, and expanded it from there to add some more stuff that are going to be add more nutrient to his diet. Like the rice is helpful, and the mixed vegetables will help him go poop a little bit more, so he's not all bound up all the time. So hopefully this doesn't take too long with the pork cooking off. Looks like it's cooking quite well. A lot of it was kind of fat and cartilage and other parts of the pork chops that I didn't want to put in our delicious sweet and sour pork. And so I'm going to add the hot dogs now. Let that go like another minute. So I spent around $5 or $6 and on all the stuff for it. A lot of the stuff is very cheap, like the bread and the rice. The rice is really cheap, obviously, and everything else was kind of like just canned food that I picked up for about $1 a piece. So round trip, we're looking at about $6, and so you know, that's very minimal, and this will last them about 5 days. And so some of the stuff like the hot dogs, it was only $1 a pack for the hot dogs, and the can of corned beef. I only used half of it, so I can use that in the next batch. So the bread and the rice is really, really cheap, and the chicken's broth is really cheap. So we're, you know, for about a month, we're talking, you know, like $25 a month. So it depends on how much you already spend on dog food, if it's worth it or not, or maybe you just want to supplement the dog food. Sometimes I mix this with the hard food, and so it will last a little bit longer, and it's healthy for his teeth to chew on some harder food and stuff like that, is what they say. So we're looking pretty good here. The pork's cooking up real fine, and everything's boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my vegetables. Wait a little bit. And so I'm going to stir up my slurry and let this come up to temperature a bit. And once this starts boiling again, hard, off a nice hard boil, I'm going to add the slurry to it. Alright, I'm going to add the slurry now. Hopefully it thickens. Sometimes I have to add more. So, but there's a lot of rice and other stuff in here that will help thicken it. So it's good to stir it in after you add it. Oh, here's our puppy coming in for a shot. And so I let it cook a little bit, about a minute after I add the slurry, so it thickens and cooks out a little bit. And so now I'm going to start adding the rice. You don't want to just dump your whole rice in there because you're going to have a splash. I've made that mistake before. Sometimes I forget. So I'm going to add it little bit by little bit. Mix up the rice nice and good. And it's nice to break it up a little bit so that you don't have these big clumps in there that you got to break up. Stir it up a little bit. Break up any clumps that go in there so that it stirs up well. So yeah, this is a nice big pot, and yeah, I mean, it works out really good. He loves this stuff, so he said I usually get like 3 deli meat containers. We save our deli meat containers and reuse them, so it works out perfect because then we can stack them up in the refrigerator, and he has food for the week. So he was out, so I had to just feed him straight dry food this morning, and he likes the dry food, but he's wandering around. He's like, he knows what's going on. He knows that this is his food, and I'm making it, and it's okay, you know, that he can run around here while I do it. But sometimes he gets a little crazy. So he is a puppy, remember. So those things are harder to manage than I previously remembered from my other puppies. But you know, we do it because we love him. So he's just a real wonderful little guy. And so now I'm going to add the bread, and the bread will help thicken it a little bit as well, and it creates like a nice mixture. So here it is, and then I'll stir in the bread and let it cook for about another minute, and then I'll turn it off, and then I just kind of let it sit. I don't know if we can come in for a little bit of a closer shot so to see kind of what it looks like. This is kind of what it looks like. The bread will kind of break down a little bit as it goes, and I stir it up and everything. So we'll give it about a nice couple minutes to stir up, and it's nice. You know, it starts out brothy, but then the rice and the bread absorb a lot of the juices, and it will be like a nice little wet food for them. So, all right. So this is the hacker's dog food, and this was cooking with cider. Next, we have our links to our sources, and well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.